Good morning. Thinking about doing a little bit of ripping today. Stalks are still a little bit chewy this morning. Things are a little bit tough. Had a pretty hard frost last night, so gonna rip a couple acres just while I'm waiting on things to dry out. So this ripper is working the heck out of this tractor, but I am bringing up some pretty big stuff out there, especially in the end rows. Now anywhere this is just bringing things up to powder, it's not really worth working it because there's not really a compaction issue, but where I'm bringing up these big lumps and clumps, I really want to run this thing and run it deep. Alright, well that guy fuels up. I'll walk you guys over here and kind of show you what I'm doing. So this spot of the field here is basically completely flat. And right here in the end rows, I'm bringing up chunks like this that are layered where you can see the hard pan and all that. So what I'm doing is this will let the freeze in deeper. I mean, here's something that's just, absolute concrete. You can't even hardly bust that apart with your foot, but it's just absolute concrete. You can see how far down that goes. I'm running between 12 and 16 inches deep. I haven't got out and really measured yet, but I'm running from the bottom of the tire to the bottom of that shank. So these tires are bottoming out. Dirt's running right about here all the way down. So I'm going pretty deep. Definitely deep enough. I feel like I'm getting into my hard pan because I can feel it in the tractor. But I'm ripping a test strip here just to see if it's worth doing this or not. Now this year of all years would be the year to do it. We're dry as a bone. If you do this when it's wet, you're just gonna cause more issues, cause more compaction, because you'll smear the ground instead of shattering it. Well, we're picking corn again. Getting the cart loaded. This ought to fill the semi with what I'm putting on him right now. The grain truck's already full. So we'll be headed to the bins before long. Rolling in. Stalks are still a little bit tough this morning, but we'll pick up some speed when we get back with the trucks. Waiting on a cart. Not sure where he's at, but jumped over here in this little strip. It's like 3 acres of that. Just trees, 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 and guess what? Behind me, more trees. So you can imagine what this corn's making. It's okay corn out here in the middle, but there's like nothing along there, so oh well. Full semi, full cart, full combine, and full grain truck. So he's getting that tarped, and we'll head back and get both trucks dumped. So since we're back with the truck, I'm gonna go ahead and dump what's on the combine and what I can fit off of the cart onto it. Go ahead and take the combine back to the farm, throw some fuel in it. We're gonna head to about a 50-acre field this afternoon off of this ground and head to a decent sized field as a change of pace, try and knock it out. The brakes are a little smoky on this old girl right now. I don't know if you can see that or not, but had a bit of a hill climb back there. Couldn't get the thing in. So that's a 5-speed with a 2-speed axle. Well, I couldn't get it in low, and it did not want to climb that hill in high. So I found myself rolling backwards, and I lost all my air pressure, so I had my foot to the floor trying to get the stupid thing to stop. And I'm just sitting there smoking the brakes with no air pressure because I'd used all my air already trying to get up the hill. In the brake, not. So yeah, that was fun. But we got her here, so that's all that matters. I really wish I had a mirror in this combine opening the field up. That way I could cuss the guy out that planted this field, I have got end rows going every which direction, and it is not fun to follow. Waiting on a cart. Heard some noises. Nice pretty sunset. And nice steep, odd-shaped, hilly fields. This one is a little interesting back here, but not too bad. Well, this is some better running. 6 mile an hour, nice long rows, nice bigger field. Much better corn than what I've been in on that state ground. It's amazing what happens when you get away from tree lines and deer and raccoons. All of a sudden the corn gets a whole lot better. This is pretty dang good corn. It's definitely the best I've shelled all year. It looks pretty poor in spots, but it's just where the tops have blown out in places. This is some of the first corn that I planted and some of the last that I'm shelling, so some of it is a little bit brittle. I mean, overall it's standing good, but the tops have started to blow out of it, which isn't a big deal. Honestly, it's less trash going through the combine. So scooting right along, 6 mile an hour, and she is just flat eating it. Looking good. Jumping. There's another one waiting on me. We'll get this unloaded and semi's next. Look how good of a job the combine's doing. No cracks, nothing ground up. Perfect, no trash. Nice pretty corn. Very little trash, very little cob, very little leaves. Hardly anything in here. It's just nice, clean, dry corn. It's blowing out good. Okay, so here's the deal. Earlier the rotor wouldn't engage, nothing in the combine would engage. About a half hour later I get a code that I had low voltage to all the hydraulics on the combine. Well, I just put 2 new batteries in it because it did about 2 nights ago too. Put 2 new batteries in it and it's doing it again. So I hooked jumper cables to it and everything's magically working. So I think that I've got alternator issues. So we're gonna take the alternator off tomorrow, first thing in the morning, and go have it tested and see if that alternator's bad or not. Otherwise, it's just a connection somewhere. And we're gonna start running down voltage and wiring and all that fun shit. All right, so here's the deal. We're running on limited battery. I charged it up. We're hoping to shell just enough corn to fill the truck, which is 2 hoppers. So, better not try and make that turn. Charged it up off the pickup. We're gonna see how long it'll run. Probably not very, but if it doesn't run very long, then we know it's an alternator. And if it does, well, we've got an electrical gremlin somewhere, but we're not sure where yet. So we're just gonna send it. Okay, my lights are getting a little bit dim. And you can see there's corn stuck in it. That's because I lost power. So we shelled, I don't know, 1800 bushel before she went dead. My lights are getting dimmer and dimmer as I drive to the other end of the field to meet the cart. So I guess we'll get an alternator first thing in the morning and go from there. I would say that is the problem. And now we'll have to charge the combine back up too before we put the alternator on. Otherwise it won't start in the morning. So that's what we'll do. It's flashing all kinds of codes at me right now. How she's low. It's not liking it. I can't even pick the head up right now. I mean, I have... Yeah, you can hear him on the radio laughing at me. I pretty much... It was all systems failed all at once. Once the voltage dropped down below a certain point, so. 10-wheeler's full, semi's about to be. So, unfortunately, we're gonna have to call it night because I don't have any more go juice. It appears that he's getting her fairly full. He's gonna wuss out and shut the gate off before he's got the back very full, but he's got it piled up there pretty good. There he goes, he's getting a little more on. Well, he's got her heaped up there pretty good, and the 10-wheeler's heaped up there pretty good, so we're gonna line them up and shut them down and park for the night. Friday night lights tonight. His lights are a lot brighter than my lights right now, because I don't really have much lights right now. Well, it's another expensive morning, but I've got an alternator now. So I'm gonna go get some electrical parts. I've got a grain bin that the outlet completely melted itself on. So I'm gonna go get a new breaker for that, new outlet, and a new plug-in. Rewire that this morning whenever I end up at the grain leg at some point today. And get this alternator put on, and hopefully we'll be shelling corn by 2 o'clock. But the way today started out, I'm not so sure. So just to keep things moving, I got the jumper cables hooked up so the batteries are charging. The alternator is up here. I pulled the side shields off. Got to take this belt off, which honestly, you probably get a pry bar in there and lift it right off there without messing with the tensioner. That little vent has to come off of it. And then you've got your plastic cap on the back. It's basically a cover that hides the back of the alternator. And yeah, that's all there is to it. However, not too bad of a job, but both trucks are full right now. And since that won't take too terribly long, I got a guy that's gonna throw that on there real quick for me. And I'm gonna go take both trucks and get them dumped just while he does that. That way when I get back, I can just start shelling corn. So other than that, that combine's ready to go. It's greased. All the fluids are good, so should be good to go. In the meantime, we're gonna get this corn hauled off. Nice clean corn this morning. Getting another bin about filled up. We'll definitely fill this bin today if everything goes good. It shouldn't take very long. The semi is full, and we're dumping the grain truck right now, so those two alone will put quite a bit in here. It's raining corn. Nice and dry. You can see it's flattening out in there quite a bit. Hardly any trash in it at all. I like it. Okay, so I just tested this corn, and it's 14%. And since that corn's only 14%, this bin has a big fan on it. That bin does not. So since it's pretty much already dry enough to just go straight in the bin, I switched from that bin to this bin since we don't need much air. That way if I do get into any wet corn or wetter corn, I can stick it in this bin and dry it with a bigger fan. Because I don't think that thing would dry any corn whatsoever. It's basically just going to run air through it and cool it. I mean, it might dry it a little bit, but They're 10,000 bushel bins, and that's just a 12-inch fan, so it could definitely use some upgrade there. Well, that timing worked out about perfect. I no more than got here with the truck, and he was wrapping up the alternator, so alternator's on. We're shelling corn again. We've got voltage, so that's typically a plus when your combine's got a hell of a lot of solenoids running everything to engage everything, disengage, adjust, you name it. It's pretty much all electric, so not too big of a deal, not too big of an expense. It was worth the money I paid just to have somebody else throw that on real quick and get them 2 trucks empty and get us shelling corn. We do have quite a bit of rain coming in the forecast, and I really want to finish up shelling corn before it gets here. So we're really gonna hammer down today and knock out as many acres as possible. Well, it's a good problem to have, but I can't make a full round in this field. I'm full, and I don't have a cart driver right now, so I guess we're deadheading it back to the other end of the field, which again is a good problem to have, but can't make a full round. Well, we're dumping, and the semi is here right on time, so I've got a cart driver now, so that's good. Get the truck full, get him full, we'll take them both in, scoot right along today. Had to wait on the cart. We're full. Finally got that really steep hillside done, or just about done. You can see it's tabletop flat on this field, and then it just drops off right there down to the trees. Corn's actually fairly decent on those hills. It's actually doing better on some of the hills than it is the flat spots of the field, and I think that was cold, wet weather. After this got planted, it just laid wet and had emergence issues, where on that hillside it wasn't near as wet, came up a little bit better, so I think that's why. I'm not entirely positive of that. I've got this field split between 2 hybrids, where I put 6 rows in the planter of one and 6 rows in the other. Those 2 numbers were Pioneer 1197 and AgriGold 6499, and so far the 6499 is beating the Pioneer by 20 to 30 bushel. However, it depends where you're at in the field, because the Pioneer had emergence issues, the AgriGold did not. So where there's not emergence issues, the Pioneer is winning, but where there is emergence issues, or where there wasn't emergence issues, the Pioneer is winning. Where there was emergence issues, the AgriGold is winning. So could have just been a hybrid thing. I mean, I'm not knocking Pioneer corn. I've had quite a bit this year that did pretty good. Also had quite a bit of AgriGold that did pretty good this year. So I'm not knocking it by any means. I think it's just different field conditions for different hybrids. It was very tough conditions, and it's still making a respectable yield. It's just when it's getting out yielded by 20-30 bushel, $4 corn, you're talking a lot of money in a hurry. So hopefully it's not like that across the whole field, but so far that's what I'm seeing. And then there's this random tree out in the middle of the field, and that kind of hurt the yield right here. But other than that, they're nice long rows all the way to the truck down there. Got him full again. He's keeping her moving. Headed to the semi. That should fill the semi, and I've already dumped the full hopper on the 10-wheeler, so it'll only hold one more too. So with what I've got in the hopper right now and what he's got on, that'll fill both trucks. We'll fill the cart and the combine real quick and be on our way trucking again. Waiting on the cart again. It's only 500 bushels, so it's all he can do to keep up in this corn. I mean, he's absolutely flying across the field right now, and I'm still full. Well, we knocked out this section of the field. Now we're headed back over to the long rows. That'll be a lot nicer. A lot of turning around, and well, These would be long rows too, but there's a ditch and a tree and just all kinds of little odd and end stuff in the way, so not really long rounds here, but we're about to be in some. This is going to test him keeping up now, because I'm not going to stop to turn or anything like that. So this is some of the better running up here. Nice long rows, dumping on the go. Not quite a bit of corn out this way, so if we just had somebody to keep the trucks moving, besides ourselves, buddy, you're gonna have to speed up. There he goes. I cuss the cart driver a lot, but I don't know of a combine operator that doesn't. We try and read each other's minds, and we don't always do the best job at it, but we're scooting right along, 6 miles an hour right now. About 190 bushel corn, so kind of wish it was a little better, but he's doing it again. He keeps slowing down, dumping it over the front. I'm about to tell him whatever he spills, he's got to get out and scoop shovel back into the cart. I'd say he'd knock that crap off pretty quick, but I don't know. He's doing a pretty good job. He's ran a grain cart quite a bit before, but that's just a small cart. It's hard to judge with that little of a cart, hitting it just right, so can't really blame him too much. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, everything's full again. So I guess we're headed back to the grain leg. Well, you guys are in luck. A buddy from college just showed up. He brought his drone, so we're gonna get to watch the combine from there now. So hope you guys enjoy this part. Roadside pickup and delivery. I like it. So we're dumping. So I want to thank you guys for watching as we roll up on 10,000 subscribers. And well, when we do hit 10,000 subscribers, I've got a little surprise. So looks a little familiar. So as I go through the fun paperwork like this, I'll be sure to drop a link in the description below. You guys can check out the extracurricular things that have been going on around here. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And after you do that, check out MRG Mapping on Facebook, because they're recreating a pretty cool map.